Hey everyone, Bob Downey here, talking to you today about the new plastics from Rapala. They're the CrushCity Customs is what we're calling them. They're new for summer 2023, just landed here at Omnia. We got 6 different shapes. This first one is a smaller swim bait. It's a 3-inch swim bait called the Mayor. You know, we've got a lot of, I would say, more minnow-based colors, some bluegilly, perchy type colors. This is going to be a great swim bait for your smallmouth fishing. I've used it a lot for smallmouth in the last year or so. It's got a really nice small profile, real natural look to it. Similar to the Largo shad that we used to have from Storm, but a little bit softer body to it. Creates a great kicking action. This is going to be a primo summertime, springtime smallmouth bait. Put it on, you know, a 3/16 to a 3/8 ounce swim bait head, wind it around on your shallow flats or even on your deeper offshore humps for smallmouth. Really good smallmouth catcher and largemouth too. If you got tougher largemouth conditions or they're feeding on smaller bait, that 3-inch Mayor is going to be a good option. Next, we got the bigger Mayor, the 4-inch Mayor. This one you can throw on a jig head on its own. You could also throw it on a swim jig to create a little bit bigger profile. You see that sometimes in Florida, more of those bigger bluegilly style swim jig profiles. We've got them in your white shad minnow based colors, some perch colors, and then your bluegilly colors as well. This is a really cool one. This is the Green Pumpkin Magic, your typical green pumpkin color, but it's got some glimmer in it, which creates a cool sheen on your sunnier conditions. Lots of different color options in the Mayor, the 4-inch Mayor as well. So those are our first, what I would say, 2 shapes. Next, we got the Freeloader. You guys have maybe heard about this already. Jacob Wheeler just won a Major League Fishing BPT event on Lake Guntersville with the Freeloader using the VMC hybrid swim jig head. And he was using the shake and bake technique, using his forward facing sonar, keeping that bait up above those fish that are schooled up offshore. He was using more of a minnow shad based color. We've got an awesome perch bluegill color here. One thing that I've noticed with the CrushCity Customs is the color selection is amazing. You'll see that we've got colors that are going to fit all of the most popular jackhammer colors out there. We've got a cool one, Green Pumpkin Chartreuse, that fits the Bee Height Delight perfectly. This one is the Sight Flash color. It's a great pairing for your Clearwater shad type jackhammers, more your bluegilly colors. Really good color selection in the CrushCity Customs. And this Freeloader is unique. It looks a little bit like some of the products on the market now in terms of the straight tail, but there are some differences to it that set it apart. It's a real soft body, and it's not rounded the whole way. The products on the market right now are, you know, they're more of a rounded body shape and a little bit longer tail. We've got a flat body. It creates a nice little roll in the water, and it's got a little bit of plastic on that tail to get that thing moving back and forth. Great chatterbait trailer, scrounger head, spinnerbait, and then throwing it, you know, on your jig head using the tight lining or shake and bake technique. The Freeloader is a really unique bait. It's already proven to put a lot of big fish in the boat. Next, we've got the Cleanup Craw. We've got one color here. This is the Green Pumpkin Chartreuse. I've been using this bait a lot so far on the Elite series. Comes in, like we've said before, a lot of different color selections. It's going to cover all the way from your white shad based colors to your bluegill colors to your natural green pumpkins to your dirty water black blues. We've got a bunch of different color options. What I like to use this for is a couple things. Swim jig, I've been using it a ton as a swim jig trailer on Lake Seminole this year on the Elites back in February. I ended up finishing 12th down there and used this primarily as my main swim jig trailer. These Craws got a really good kicking action to them. And then we've got a unique style with these legs that are actually, when you reel them in, they flare back. And so every time you move that bait forward, these things flare the whole time. So it's kind of a cool little bait. A nice profile, not super big and not a teeny little micro craw. It's the perfect little swim jig trailer. You don't have to trim off anything if you don't want to. It's a really good profile. I also use this flipping on the Sabine River. A couple weeks ago, we had a little bit dirtier water, so I wanted something with a little bit more kicking action, and this was a great profile for flipping, you know, 3/16 to a 3/8 ounce Texas rig. Lastly, one little sleeper technique I've been, you know, figuring this bait works well for is on the back of a buzz bait. You see a lot of guys putting your horny toad styles on the back of a buzz bait instead of the skirt. I've actually been using this as well on my buzz baits instead of a skirt. It gives that buzz bait a nice profile for those fish to grab onto when they do bite it, and a lot of times your hookup ratio is better when you're using a plastic versus a skirt on your buzz bait. So super versatile, swim jig, flip it, punch it, throw it on the back of a buzz bait. The cleanup craw is a really versatile craw style bait. Next, we've got the Ned BLT. Everyone loves a BLT sandwich, so we named it after the BLT and Ned himself. More your Ned style soft plastic worm. What makes this unique is it does have the stretchy material, much like you've seen in the past on many Ned style baits. So this thing's gonna hold up to a lot of fish catches. And I've found a couple different ways to rig this. You can rig it certainly with your traditional Ned style plastic, you know, working it along the bottom, typical Ned rigging. You can also drop shot this bait. It's gonna float. So on a drop shot, it's gonna sit real nice and horizontal. I've also been tight lining this bait too. So you throw it on a little 1/8 ounce, 3/16 ounce head, using your forward facing sonar, throwing it out there, letting it get down above those fish and tight lining it and shaking it back above them. This tail has a really nice quivering action on a lighter Ned style that you're not fishing on the bottom, you're fishing it up above those fish. So that's a really versatile bait. Your typical Ned style worm that you can throw on a Ned rig, throw on a drop shot, and also tight line it above those fish with your forward facing sonar and getting them to come up. Lastly, but not least, is the Bronco Bug. This thing is super unique. It's a shape I've never seen before in a flipping bait. Rapala did a really good job coming up with a new shape of plastic in their lineup that's not really seen on the market yet. Really cool, I guess what you'd call maybe a Craw style bait. But you can see from this profile, you can't really tell how thin this bait is down by the legs, but you turn it this way, there's next to no plastic there connected to these big old flappers on the back end, and that creates a really unique action in the water. Called the Bronco Bug for a reason. This thing kicks and looks like a bucking bronco in the water. Really unique action, cool bed fishing bait. It'll hit bottom. These things will actually come and touch the head of this bait and flare back. Really cool bait that might drive them nuts on a bed. Lastly, this thing rigged on an extra wide gap hook and about a 1/4 to 3/16 ounce weight, just casting it and reeling it back. This thing swims through the water like a dolphin would. It kind of looks like this coming through the water. It's kind of unlike anything I've seen before. I personally believe it's because of this thin set of plastic and these heavy flappers on the end give it that unique swimming action. So you can run it, you can reel this thing around up shallow like you would a swim jig, and you're going to get a real unique dolphin-like swimming action. What I've been using it for the most so far in this early summer time period, throwing it on the edge of the grass, much like I would, you know, throwing a big rubber worm or a tube cross style bait. The Bronco Bug has replaced those for me, fishing weed edges. It's a big profile, looks like a bluegill falling through the grass. We've got those tentacles on this as well as the cleanup craw that flare as you move it forward. So the Bronco Bug's really unique. I can't wait to see the ways that people use this bait. I think there's still a lot to be learned about the situations when a Bronco Bug will be the best. And once again, bunch of cool colors. We've got a black, blue, silver flake color here, really good dirty water color. The Bronco Bug's a cool one, and I think it's gonna put a lot of fish in the boat. So those are the 6 shapes we got from the Rapala CrushCity Customs lineup. Bunch of cool colors, some unique shapes, a bunch of fish catchers. I've been using them for just about a year now. As on the Elite Series so far, through 6 events, they've played a big role for me. Pick some up, give them a try. I think you're gonna like what you see from the Rapala CrushCity Customs line.